After just a year from appointing the Imam as his crown prince, Ma'mun realized that his plots against the Imam were unsuccessful. The only benefit from his decision during this time was a temporary halt in the Alavid uprisings against his government. Ma'mun could not defame the Imam nor justify his decisions using the Imam's name, as the Imam always kept himself distant from Ma'mun and his government. Instead, the Imam with his wise actions made his position an exceptional opportunity to spread the Shia theology all around the Islamic territory. The main positive outcome for the Imam's appointment as the crown prince was that after decades of hostility against the Shia Imams, now ironically for the first time, the Islamic caliph and government had to confess to the elevated status of the Shia Imams. This outcome proved the correctness of the Shia theology for the Muslims in all around the Islamic territory and accelerated their familiarity with the Shia theology. The Imam was named with respect as the crown prince all over the Islamic territory. The Shias, who had always hid their belief because of fear for their lives, were now proudly declaring and spreading their belief. Ma'mun, who had hoped to disgrace the Imam's divine character by affiliating him to his government, was now witnessing the opposite outcome from what he had intended. The Imam's interactions with the people would fill their hearts with love and respect for him to an extent that many of the people believed that the Imam had much more merit for the caliphate than Ma'mun. Also, the Imam's debates with the greatest Muslim and non-Muslim scholars of the time proved his divine knowledge for the people. Therefore, Ma'mun could not find any other ways to stop the Imam other than killing him. One reason that Ma'mun rushed to kill the Imam was the instability in Baghdad, the former capital of the Abbasids. The Abbasid royal family was outraged by Ma'mun's decision to appoint Imam Reza as his crown prince. They could not tolerate seeing the Abbasid government fall in the Alavid lineage in the future. They selected Ibrahim ibn Mahdi, one of their family members, as their chosen caliph and paid allegiance to him. Ibrahim ibn Mahdi was a corrupt character who was famous in the public for his singing and intoxication. Thus, Ma'mun decided to personally move to Baghdad to manage the instability in the city. He knew that the Abbasid would never approve the Imam as his crown prince. Also, the Abbasids considered Ma'mun's minister, Fazl ibn Sahil, as their enemy, as they held him responsible for Ma'mun's wars with Amin, who had their support. Ma'mun believed that the Abbasids would still accept him as their caliph if he could eliminate their excuse by killing both the Imam and Fazl ibn Sahil. Ma'mun wanted to prepare a favorable environment in Baghdad ahead of his arrival, and thus decided to eliminate both Imam Reza and Fazl ibn Sahil as soon as possible. Shortly after leaving Merv towards Baghdad, they arrived at Sarakhs, which is the current-day border between Iran and Turkmenistan. Ma'mun decided to implement his plot at this location. Fazl ibn Sahil decided to go to the bathhouse, and Ma'mun asked the Imam to accompany Fazl. However, the Imam refused his request. When Ma'mun insisted, the Imam responded that he had seen the Prophet in his dream, who had asked him not to go to the bathhouse, and Ma'mun finally accepted. In the bathhouse, Fazl ibn Sahil was surrounded and murdered by Ma'mun's hidden agents. Shortly after this incident, Ma'mun's agents were arrested and brought to him. To prove his innocence in Fazl's murder, Ma'mun ordered the execution of his agents. When these agents were being taken for execution, they were crying out loud and saying that it was Ma'mun himself who had ordered the murder of Fazl. Ma'mun and his army continued their way towards Baghdad until they stopped by his father Harun's tomb, which was in a garden in the village of Sanabad near the city of Tus in Khurasan. At this place, Ma'mun decided to poison the Imam. He called the Imam in his presence and poisoned him with pomegranate juice or grapes. Imam Reza became the only Shia Imam who was directly poisoned by the hand of a Muslim caliph. It can be inferred that the Imam was poisoned with a very detrimental and strong poison, as his poisoning was a political assassination and should not have been left incomplete. Furthermore, Ma'mun wanted to remove the Imam as soon as possible, since he wanted to continue his journey to Baghdad. It is highly possible that he had gotten the poison from the Romans, as he had a good relationship with them at the time. The effect of the poison on the Imam's body was almost immediate. When the Imam left Ma'mun, he came directly back to his residence. He asked his companion Abbas al-Harawi to close all of the entrance doors as he was sick and could not meet anyone. The Imam then laid down on the bed. When the Imam was in his deathbed, Ma'mun came to visit him. He told the Imam that I don't know which tragedy is harder for me, losing you or the people's accusations that blame me for your condition. The Imam ignored Ma'mun's words. He just opened his eyes and warned Ma'mun to treat his only child, Muhammad, well, as both of them would die close to each other time-wise. During the last hours of the Imam's life, his companion Abbas al-Harawi saw a young boy inside the Imam's residence. He came to the boy and asked him how he had entered the house, as he had closed all of the entrance doors. The boy responded that the Almighty, who had brought me from Medina to Tus, in just a moment entered me into the house through a closed door. Abbas al-Harawi asked him who he was, and the boy responded that I am your Imam, Muhammad ibn Ali. He said that I am here to meet and bid farewell to my lonely and poisoned father. When Imam Reza saw his 7-year-old son, he got up and hugged him. They talked in private for a while until the Imam's soul ascended. Imam Reza was martyred on the last day of Safar in the year 203 of Hijri at the age of 54. He was martyred after being in the position of crown prince for just about 1.5 years. Imam Muhammad ibn Ali alayhi salam, known as Jawad, performed his father's rituals individually even without taking help from Abbas al-Harawi. He washed and prayed on the Imam's body. He then disappeared without anyone else noticing his presence. When Ma'mun was informed about the martyrdom of the Imam, he came to his residence. Ma'mun showed grief and sorrow to portray to the people that he was innocent in the Imam's martyrdom. He came barefoot to the Imam's burial while grieving. The Imam's burial was performed under the intense control of Ma'mun's army, and it can be inferred that most of the attendees were from his army. Ma'mun had decided to bury the Imam by his father Harun. He ordered a grave dug for the Imam behind Harun's tomb. However, the earth did not open for them even after frequent attempts. They then tried to dig a hole in the surrounding locations. When they tried digging in front of Harun's tomb, the earth opened and a fully prepared grave was discovered. They did not hesitate and buried the Imam in that grave, though the outcome was not in the favor of Ma'mun. After the Imam's martyrdom, Ma'mun sent a letter to the Abbasid royal family to inform them about the Imam's death. He asked them to obey him, as their animosity was only due to the Imam's appointment for the crown prince. He then continued his journey to Baghdad.